is partly funded by a grant from the Florida Collegiate Music Educators Association to bring our guest scholar, Dr. Rachel Grimsby, on campus here for these sessions. So we are super thankful for the opportunity, and we're super thankful that Rachel is here with us as well. So let's give a round of applause to our guest for today.
So a little bit about myself, and I'm not going to talk about this long because we're going to want to play. You know, whenever you go and see a presenter, you're like, why should I listen to you? What expertise do you bring? I have 16 years of teaching in the public school systems at Virginia. And every year, the students that I taught with needs, be it labeled or not labeled, increased drastically, but I was never prepared in my undergraduate with how to teach them. So for those of you who are undergraduates and you are able to work at your respective university and have a class specific to teaching music with to students with disabilities is incredible, because in 2010, Karen Salvador did a study that only about 29.7% of universities offered a specific music content class. And when she and Mara Culp redid that study and published it, I think it was in 2021 or 2022, it had only gone up to 33%. So you all are very fortunate, and I appreciate you coming and sharing your time with me this afternoon. And I put my clicker in my pocket. And I've been researching and working with individuals with disabilities for a long time. I'm currently working on accessibility for college students with learning needs. So just know that I'm active in the field, and I bring a lot of that with me today. So in our 50 minutes that we have, I'm going to take you through a variety of tools that can help you both as a public school, private school music educator, but also for any college or future collegiate instructors, tools that you can incorporate into your instruction if you so choose. So the first we're going to talk about are communication tools, and then some apps. So I try to get most of my apps to be Apple Android, but not all are. So if you have a device with you, at some point you can download these apps. All of the apps are free, but might have an in-app purchases to get some more of the bonuses. And then we're going to look at the assistive devices that I have here on the table. And then you're going to be able to come and choose a device that you wish to play with and kind of go off into a breakout group and think about how you can use this in a variety of settings from elementary to collegiate. So some of you, especially the undergraduates, might go, I'm a little overwhelmed. This is a lot that I have to think about. It is. But know that you have a lot of people that you can connect with to support you, especially in the public schools. You'll have special education teachers, you'll have paraprofessionals, you'll have veteran teachers. So don't isolate yourself, because we as music teachers tend to live in a silo. Know that you are supported. And a lot of this is really, it's plug and play. If you can play a video game, you can incorporate this stuff into your lesson planning. So real quick, and also every student is musical. So a little soapbox moment. Language is ever evolving, right? So, several years ago, it was LGBTQIA. Now it's LGBTQIA2 Spirit Plus, right? Language is constantly evolving. For a long time, we said students with special needs. Well, every student is special. What makes some students more special than others? Nothing, because all students are special. Then we moved to students with exceptionalities. Well, all students are exceptional, depending on how we look at it. So I use the term students with disabilities because, as somebody who is with a hidden disability, as a mother of 2 neurodivergent children, I use that as an identifier of who I am and who my children are, and that disability is socially constructed. We are all, if you were in the morning session on UDL, every one of us is different. Every way that we interact with the world is different. And it's when we go outside of our home and interact in social spaces or spaces of learning or workspaces where we encounter barriers that disable us. So today, as I say, individuals with disabilities or students with disabilities, please know that I'm saying that disability is socially constructed. Our differences are natural, but disability is constructed. All right, communication apps. these are all, I very much practice from a universal design for learning perspective, and that if it can work for one student, it could probably work for all students. So instead of othering the student by having special accommodations just for Johnny or Susie, why don't we apply them to our entire instruction, with the caveat that there are still going to be students that need those accommodations and modifications. So this is an example of something that wouldn't be for universal design for learning. Providing a speaking student the opportunity to use this is not something that I would recommend, but I would teach our speaking students to use these for our non-speaking students rather than, what do I mean? Let's say I'm Narissa, because I know Narissa. Narissa's non-speaking and communicates with an app. If I only respond to her with spoken communication, whose form of communication am I prioritizing? Mine. But if I respond to Narissa by using the app, then I'm validating and showing Narissa that her chosen form of communication is just as important as mine. So that's why I share these apps with you, so that you can learn how to use them if you have a student who comes to you with the need of this app. You can create a variety of sentences, but if you want to have different voices, or if you want to add cards, you have to upgrade to the premium, which is a certain amount each month. The same for V2Go, which is this one. And these videos, I made them for every spring. I teach a Arts for Diverse Learners course, and these are videos that I've made for them. So I am speaking to those that I teach, if you're wondering why the narration is there.
Apps for you so that you can see them explored. The first one is going to be Avaz, and this is our first communication app. This one is free. So all of the ones that I'm showing you are free and pretty good. So here you have pictures. You can look and search people. So group work, even family, school people. Notice we are not listed, but hey, they have the librarian, so that's great. People. Friend, doctor, helpers. Little gendered language there. We need to work on that. Fire person, police person. All right, so if we go home. They also have topics and actions, so, or describing words. So let's say they need to describe how they're feeling. They have emotions down here, so they can describe how they're feeling. So let's go back and let's make some sentences. So you have your sentences here. So you can go, I want topics.
I hit topics.
Music. Do cello. And there's also more, so you can slide. And then you can come up here and play. The student can play. I want cello.
So I shared that one with you because using this to communicate with your students is a great way, especially if you have students who have an inability to express their wants or needs. This is really great. And let's say you're working on singing, but they're non-speaking, you can record song cards in here on this one. This one is V2Go, and this will be the last video that we watch.
Okay, we're still doing communication apps, so we're gonna go back to our tab, and this time we're gonna look, last time we looked at Avaz, now we're gonna look at Visuals to Go. Now this one is free, and this one is not as fancy as Avaz. As you can see, there's webinars and things you can do. That's gonna pop up every time. So this is not as fancy, and it's also British. So you can go here to edit. Let me do that again. So if you see there's the little pen there, you tap that. I can add a new card. I can create a new album. If I add a new card, I can go to library search. I could take a picture. So if I wanted to, I can take a picture. Okay. And we're gonna turn this around. We're gonna take a picture of me So there's me, woohoo, I look super shiny. And hit OK. And then here, I could put. So let's say the child is learning their teachers. I can record my voice. Hi, I'm Dr. Grimsby, and I'll be your music teacher. I so look forward to making music with you. Hi, I'm Dr. Grimsby, and I'll be your music teacher. I so look forward to making music with you. And so then you can either do a round border or a square border. I prefer the roundish border. And then text position, top, bottom, border color, gray, and then we click check to be done. And hey, look, I have my own card. So you can also create a new album, but So this one is really great for song writing. If you're singing songs in elementary general music or choir. For ensembles, I'm not quite sure how this would translate to ensembles either, other than the students needing to communicate as they would if they were speaking students. If you're wondering why I'm saying speaking students, I don't believe that students are nonverbal. To be nonverbal, it means you are without language. And she's non-speaking, but she understands my directions, then she has words. So to say nonverbal means completely without words. So I choose to use the term non-speaking because there's students who still communicate and they understand verbal directions. They simply communicate in a different way. Visual schedules, you might go, how is that an assistive device? Anything that assists with learning is an assistive device. It does not have to be all of this really fun technology over here, okay? A visual schedule is great for individuals who are on the spectrum, for individuals with ADHD, for individuals who are working on stamina to be in a room that's sensory overload. Honestly, a visual schedule could help anyone. So this is what I mean by if it works for one student, let's use it for all students. So here's an example of a visual schedule from a colleague of mine years ago, where we start with sitting in our chair. They would start their class with yoga breathing every day, and we would do warm-ups, roll the ball, and while these would change, they understood that if they saw the drum, the song might change, but they knew the activity was going to be with the drum. So this really helped the students know what to look forward to and know how much time would be spent on a task. Anxiety is a lot more common since COVID, especially among our young students, maybe even in our own classroom here, that knowing how long something is going to take or knowing what is going to be expected really helps the learner engage more with what you're teaching. And by the way, all of these images were just found on Google. You don't need anything fancy to make a picture exchange communication. That's what PEC stands for, picture exchange communication. That's what you were seeing in the two communication devices, AVAS and V2Go, is pictures being used to communicate. Okay, so I already went over this. The benefits, students know what to expect, and you can use it with every student, not just one or two. All right, the apps. Would you go ahead and take out your phone? And these apps can be used in any setting, okay? So let's say that you are a one-to-one device school, but your student, you don't have the funding for instruments, classroom instruments, band instruments, orchestral instruments. You can create on your phone with many of these apps. You can use them for vocal exploration, echo singing, beat activities, decoding, sight reading, and they're used at all levels. So sing music is really great when it works. How many of you know Love Opera? Oh, yay, okay. So it's not just, I'm gonna sit here. It's not just for vocal exploration. You know, if you are doing woo, woo, you have a non-speaking student, you want to, no, come back. Okay, we're gonna skip the tutorial so we have everybody. But you can also record songs. So if you have a student and you're working on a composition or a sound exploration project,
You can work on vowel sounds. So in your choral ensemble, if you have a non-speaking student, and that's free, right? So what a fun thing to explore. If you are getting ready to go into education, you could collaborate with your art teacher and have the students create a visual. It's just a fun app to use. I'm really sad that Sing Music isn't working. If I can get it to work, I'm just going to make a video of it and send it to you. The next one is, would you go to your iPhone, go to the App Store and look up Beams. It's green lines and it's free. And the cell service is pretty good in this room, so you should be able to access it. So if we look at the website, this can be used for any type of music making. They advertise it as an accessible device for individuals with disabilities to create music. But, and if you see these little, it's kind of like a theremin. You all know what a theremin is, right? Where you place your hand and how long sustains the sound. So if we look at my phone here, I have, and I can change, this is Pharaoh's remix. I can go to music instrument series if I wanted to, but I kind of like Pharaoh's remix. So I have a sitar, a shakuhachi, a flute, a tabla, and if I change to 2, I have a zither, a guitar, a oud, and bongos. So if I go back up to, oh, and 3, I have even more. So going to, all I have to do is hold it. You don't have the ability to record the sound, but you can record your song that you make with those instruments. So if you want to have an ensemble and it's more of a sound exploratory ensemble rather than a traditional Western music ensemble, you can. Were you all able to find it? Take 15, 30 seconds, just play around with it. It's going to sound chaotic, but just play around with it. So the next app is Sound Forest. I like Sound Forest because it provides a visual for beat and rhythm loop making. So that was really short. But the cool thing about Sound Forest is that if I'm working with a group of students and I want to assess their ability to align rhythms over beats, they don't have to be speaking. They don't have to have the ability to hold an instrument. They just have to have the ability to tap. You can even have students change the meter. Cool? So as you download that, we'll come back and you can choose to play with that one if you want to. Koala Sampler, I was introduced to Koala Sampler by Dr. Cooper, but what I don't know if Dr. Cooper knows is that when you record your sound, it doesn't have to be something that you loop. Let's say you have a student and you're working on decoding or you're working on sight reading in your choral ensemble. As long as they know which box is which pitch, right? You can record into it and then they can play. And you have all of those options. And you can then delete them if you no longer need them. Koala Sampler is free. There used to be a better app called Keezy, but they no longer support Keezy and they got rid of it. So this is Koala Sampler, great for beat making, great for DAWs, and a great assistive tool for non-speaking students to sing, or instrumentalists who perhaps maybe want to play the clarinet, but you don't have access to an assistive clarinet. Record the sounds on Koala and all they have to do is tap. So now it's time to get to the devices. Okay. So the first device I'm going to show to you is a Skoog. The Skoog is the most expensive instrument on here. So let's say that you're working within a budget. The Skoog is $200, not the most accessible. However, everything else on this table is $99 or less, which isn't bad if you, and oh, by the way, IEPs, individual education plans for the student. If this device would help them in their education and you can get it written into their IEP, the school has to pay for it. Not the parent, not you, but the school. Yay. Okay. So this is an Apple only app, I'm sorry. So here is the device. So let's say you can't afford this. This app is free. We're in Phrygian, it's one of my favorite modes. And I'm using the flute because the last group of students I did this like the flute. Is it synced up? Hold on, let's get it synced up. The cool thing about this is, let's say once it works, that I am a student who doesn't have, any digits. The good thing is when it works, I'll get it to work in just a minute. I'm not going to waste your time. All I have to do is push this, and when it's connected, you can play the sounds here. So whoever chooses this, I'll help you get it connected, and you can use my iPad. Singing or instrument recordings. These are switches, but switches in special education are $80 a pop. I got these answer buzzers off of Amazon for $35. Okay, so these answer buzzers for $35, if I'm doing singing and I go, Charlie over, it's not gonna be the same pitch. Charlie over the ocean. Lower key when I recorded. But you see, a non-speaking student could sing. You could record, let's say you're doing rhythm and you can say, you press the button, do day, and you go do day, do day, do day, do. A student can echo, or if you go bum, 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 bum. If they can use their chin, if they don't have arms, they can use their chin. They can use their foot. Does it matter if the student's foot touches this? No, we have something called Clorox wipes. It's gonna be okay, right? Any way that they can interact. This is a switch which requires your cell phone to be put in. And with the switch, you can record songs and or parts, a flute part, a clarinet part, a trombone part. And all they have to do is touch the button to the rhythm of what's being played, and it will play it. So if you have a student in an ensemble who can't, and a trombone or a flute or a clarinet isn't accessible to them, this is. And this is a free app as well. This was $50. This is a thumb piano that I got off of Amazon for $45.
Play
And if I can do, I don't have to hold it like this. It could be just put in. Now, if I want to go higher, I have to hold this down. Okay, so thumb piano. There's two of them here to explore. The other one is Spectrum. This is here, Spectrum EDU. The app is it's there and you can download it, but it's no longer supported because they don't sell these anymore. So if you find them on eBay, and tons of them around, you can get them. It comes with a colored pad. I will say this isn't great for individuals who are colorblind. So the good thing is you don't have to have this in order for it to work. And do you mind pulling up your app since my app is misbehaving? It comes with 2 Bluetooth rings and USB charging. And you're gonna wanna write, you can see the purple, so that you know which rings to connect to. You don't have to have this though. You can download it and just play it on the phone itself. And then if you download this on your phone, whichever you get, all of the rings. So look, let's say if I don't have digits. I washed my face this morning.
All right, come on, create.
They can use their nose. They can use, I won't put it on my foot. You can use your toes. You could use a drumstick. If they don't have motor skills in their fingers, but they can grip, they can tap on the stick.
You can use shirts, surfaces, chairs, body parts.
That is here. There's four of them if you would like to choose. And then these are also for mixing, but this is the Orbitron. And this was $90. You have the volume on the side. You can record on these. The record button, by the way, is here. You have to hold that down. You can play and pause with number 5. So record is 6, play and pause is 5, but you can change the sound in the middle.
That's just cool. I'm actually gonna hit my Amazon bill.
Have fun with this, right? If you are a vocalist, you could do so much with this. If you're in an ensemble, why can't you just write a synth part? If it's a traditional band or a traditional orchestra, I don't want to cuss on TV. Screw the rules, but replace that with the best word, okay? Because traditional music rules leave out so many people. Does it really freaking matter if your orchestra has a synth part when it's just meant to be for strings? No, it doesn't matter. You know why? Because that child can find a love for string music through an Orbitron. Or they can play the French horn through an Orbitron, right? But they're playing it in a synthesized part. Traditional instruments and traditional methods aren't always, I would say, mostly aren't accessible, right? Unless you fit a model. Most of us don't fit that model. So I was never taught that I could break the rules. Cameron knows this because we both, yeah. I was never taught that in undergrad. And it wasn't until my students were brave enough to be like, we love you, Mrs. Grimsby. I was Mrs. then, not doctor. Can we do blah, blah, blah? And as soon as I let the students teach me, I threw the rules out the window, and my teaching and their learning became so much more meaningful. Lastly is Makey Makey. Makey Makey, I think we're mostly familiar with. So this is a device where you can create an instrument if you don't have one. So this is USB-C. You'll plug it into your computer. This is your game controller, okay? I see you're excited about several of them. I don't know your name. You can connect this to here, and all you have to do is touch it with your finger to make it play. But let's say that that's too small. If you hold on, and I'll show you how to do this, you'll connect it here. And as long as part of this is on your body, right? So you could just hold it. You could connect these to Play-Doh. You could connect them to a banana. You could connect them to hair clips, and all the student has to do is to tap them and they'll make sound. Okay, so I was going to take you through an activity of, let's put this piece on assistive devices. We're not going to do that because I think you all want to play. I'm reading the room. So what we're going to do is I would like for you to get into whatever groups you'd like and come up and choose one of these devices. All of these have batteries in them. You're not going to hurt me if you re-record over what I have. I have 4 Spectrums, 2 thumb pianos, 1 switch, 2 Makey Makeys, 2 Orbitrons, and if you choose the Skoog, I will help you. Your assignment which you have 10 minutes, 15 minutes to do the assignment, is to figure out how you would incorporate this into your instruction. So if you are a college instructor, how are you going to bring this into your instruction? If you want to be an elementary music educator, what are you going to do? How are you going to bring these into your instruction? If you're going to be a middle school or high school ensemble director, band, orchestra, choir, DAW ensemble, can we normalize that, please? How would you bring these into your instruction? I don't know. I mean, I do know, but you tell me. Can I use those devices as learning options for all students? Are they universal? Or are they better suited for students who need specific accommodations? And how would you use the app for specific instruments? Yes, I know what to do. Please stop talking. I want to play. Kind of, sort of. No, please explain again because I love the sound of your voice. I'm not offended at all. All right. Okay. So one of the things that I did as a general music teacher to make sight reading fun is we would often do barnyard or farm animal or just any type of animal sight reading where the students had to read or sing on that sound. And I'm assuming that the sound you made was very much a cow sound. That's amazing. I appreciate you. But also like sometimes like students think they're doing something that's silly and like not with it. If students show you something that shows that they are engaging, but they're wanting to do it in a different way, take up on it and play along. Because that is a great way to get them invested in what you're doing. Like, just go with the flow. All right, so time to answer some questions. How could you incorporate these sound buttons? How would you use these answer buzzers in your instruction?
Yeah, so we were kind of having in mind that the class is going to be almost on this is like an elementary class, so the beginner level. So we don't want to overwhelm them with like a bunch of rhythms sometimes. So we want to teach them coordination, teach them how to keep beat, teach them how to identify rhythms, and we can do that with the buttons. So with these buttons, we can go through the Oh My Down How to Farm song, and then we can maybe go into groups and teach them how to coordinate with their groups with these buttons, depending on what sounds they have. Tailor them. Just keep it in mind.
I went the big tunnel. Okay. And you hit, I mean, is this something that all students could use, friends? 100%. All right, so the thumb pianos, who had the thumb pianos? Okay, how would you use these in your instruction? Are they accessible for all students? And how could they replace instruments? So we could use music as a way to support other learning skills. That doesn't mean that music is for English or music is for science or music is for this. We're still teaching music for the sake of music. Please, that is our number one. But if we have a student who is accessing language through music, why in the hell would we not use music to help them develop their language skills? If a student is working on fine motor skills, why would we not use music? If they need to work on fine motor, why would we not do music to help with that? It's like, I get music and this. Cool. Any other on the thumb piano?
Yeah, if you had someone who wanted to play a certain instrument, there's a bunch of different instrument sounds on there, so they can just easily play that instrument sound through.
And something you may not know about the thumb piano is you can go above the octave. It has that range. You just have to push certain buttons together. Does not come with instructions. You have to figure it out on your own, as I did. But hey, it's probably why it was under $40 on Amazon. Nobody took the Spectrum, that's okay, or the Scoob, but the Orbuz seemed to be really popular. So the group of people who took the Orbuz, and then Makeys, I'm coming to you. How would you use the Orbuz to answer our questions?
So we were noticing that with the drum part of it, we could use it centered around rhythm so that they can get more involved with the rhythm. It doesn't matter which instrument that they decide to go with, but they could just use whichever one and just go have fun with it. Like just have that rhythm in the sense and add it into like whatever beat that's being played like in a speaker, let's say. And then with the other sections, like I think one of them was called bass. It was pretty much like all a full octave of a scale, and it would help with like teaching intervals per se, and giving more of an idea to be able to get that words, get more of an introduction towards giving a guidance to intervals without having to go with like the set rules of like, here's a specific syllable that you need to go with, like let's say solfege. It's a good idea, but there's also people that can't, like as you said, non-speaker students that wouldn't be able to actually speak set solfege. So they can use this instrument to be able to guide them.
Heck yeah, so not only a performance tool, but a music theory tool. So imagine if you were in ear training, learning intervals with that. Here's my email. I would love to talk with you further about accessible devices. If you have, let's say you graduate and you get into a classroom next year and you're like, I have these students and I'm not sure what to do, email me. You have my slideshow. Please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you so much for coming to the session. And I hope tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, if you're not doing anything, and I know that's early, we'd love to have you. I'm going to talk about collaborating with paraprofessionals. They are just like us, unsung heroes. And it's, I think, going to be a vibrant 8 o'clock session. Bring your coffee, bring your pastries, and I'd love to see you. And if not, have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.